encompass that kind of character that is bigger than life and mythical.
I'll give you one. I'll give you a guy that does that you just worked with, and that's Stallone. The gravitas alone from that gentleman. And let's end it with this one, because I got to talk to you about Stallone work in Tulsa King, because I like the idea that you're not playing the typical, because I'm half Italian. Right. And so I'm expecting, I hear Frank Grillo is going to be in a mob show. I'm expecting you to be the mafioso that we see, but you're not in this one. This is a very different role. So tell me about when Stallone calls you up, and then the kind of progression of doing Tulsa King season 2.
Yeah. First of all, I knew Sly a little bit. He invited us, Joe and I, up to his house a couple times to watch the fights with, Al Pacino and Sugar Ray Leonard and Arnold, and so I knew him a little bit. Then I had done Homefront with Jason Statham, which Stallone wrote and was going to direct, but he didn't wind up directing it. So he liked what I did in there, and that's our relationship up until I get this phone call, and I had seen Tulsa King. Coincidentally, my girlfriend and I had binged it because I love him so much, and I thought, wow, what a great role for him. This is great fun. It's like Sopranos, and the same guy who wrote Sopranos writes this show. Yes. So I'm in bed Sunday morning. I get a phone call. It's Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, hey, you got a minute? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And he kind of says, I got something that I think would be good for you. And I'm all ears. And so he describes this, fourth generation Kansas City mobster. And my first question out of my mouth, I said, do I got to be Tony Soprano? Like, I don't. Because I don't want to do that. Right. I don't want to play that Italian classic stereotypical. He's already doing a version of it that's really good. Right. So I don't want, he goes, no, you don't have to do that. I said, could I wear a cowboy hat? He goes, you can do whatever you want. So I got to kind of create, along with Terrence Winter, who's the writer, and Sly, got to create this guy who was not your typical Italian mafiosa guy, but had the same, if not more, power and gravitas than Sly's character. And the idea that I was going to go head-to-head with him and not kind of have to acquiesce to the Stallone of it all made me fucking excited.
That's great.
And he said, I want you to come and do this. And I first day, I can't lie to you, the first day we show up, we have a fucking 6-page scene. And it's me and him going, the first time our characters are meeting. And the minute he walked out, it wasn't the Sly I knew anymore. It was Rocky. Yeah. It was Rambo.
Yeah.
I'm on set with Stallone. I mean, I don't care who the fuck you are. And I've been on set with a lot of big dudes. A lot of, icons. Yeah. This guy. And in that second, and me and Maddie just talked about this. Me and Maddie Sarah just talked about this. I said, Matt, when you're thinking about the fight with the fucking, with the John Jones guy, right up until you get in the cage. And then you get in the cage and all you see is another guy with his hands up.
Right.
And you go to work.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
That's
and he
great.
loved that.
I love that.
He loved that, and so I had my opinions and I had my notes. And when I thought something wasn't right, we would do it again. And that became our relationship. And I think that served the character because people seem to have loved me and him together.
Yeah. So are you guys, but on the off takes, because as you mentioned, you're going up to his place to watch the fight. So you can, because he's obviously big boxing guy. Are you guys ever talking about fights on while the cameras are off? Are you talking about that in general, or or are you just talking work?
Oh no, we never talk. We'll talk if what we're doing needs work, the scene needs work. We're talking about, we're bouncing shit back and forth. Mostly we're talking about getting old, our favorite fights. We'll talk, he's like me. He's like an encyclopedia with fights. Yeah. We'll talk about fighting. We'll talk about what's going on in the world and our opinions. And, I'll ask him questions about his fucking $1 million watch on his wrist. We'll talk about peptides. We talk about things that old guys talk about. And then, we do this thing now where we don't FaceTime, we do video messaging. And so anytime we talk, we're video messaging each other. So it's like we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
And, a lot of what we want to do next season, we'll talk about that. So it's been a trip.
I'm sure. I can't imagine. I got the pitch for you though. Joe Carnahan directing the next Rambo with you and Stallone.
Hey, now there you go.